If by this point I've convinced you that you ought to try Toastmost, here's the process of setting up a club website. Now, after I cover the very beginning decisions you will make about how to structure your website and your agenda, we'll go into the process of editing your home page and maybe starting to add a little bit of extra content, such as a blog post. Now, if you want, you can skip ahead. If you're more interested in getting your agenda set up properly, I'm going to tackle that in the following section: how to work with the agenda, and then how to customize the agenda to meet the way the order of your things in your meetings flow and the timing of things in your meetings flow. From there, we'll get into setting up email forwarding and other options. There are a bunch of features built into the service that you just have to decide whether you want to turn them on, such as a mailing list for all your members and all your officers. You can also set up something so that every time somebody fills out that form on Toastmasters.org, the Find a Club form that sends a notification to you, that they'll automatically get a response that tells them a little bit about your club and how to attend, how to find out more, hopefully on your website. We'll get eventually into adding more pages, reorganizing the website menu and other design options, and then into more advanced configuration options, such as adding additional plugins or requesting additional plugins to be added to the service. I'll cover how to optimize content for search and social media so that it becomes part of a comprehensive digital marketing strategy for your club. And finally, I'll get into how to get help when you do get stuck, which may happen along the way. But first, you go to Toastmost.org and you're going to sign up for a 3-month free trial. So that's meant to give you time to work with setting up the website, designing the website, and also so you're going to set up your website, start out with a basic design, make a few choices up front. Now, if you already have an account through some club that uses the Toastmost service, you can log in before completing this form, and that will streamline things a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to have to put in your name and email to create an account. So I'm going to use this, which will forward to me. Oh, there's already a user account for that email. So this is a club website host. This is going to be the very testy Toastmasters. And my website address by default will be verytesty.toastmost.org if I follow through here and include the defaults. Now, it is also possible to register your own web domain and associate it with this site. That's an advanced option that you might get into later. It requires a little setup. You have to go back and forth with me a little bit to get it working, but that is possible if you'd like to have that for your club. So, and I do recommend that you keep this little prefix the thing that's going to be part of your web address, they keep that relatively short, because if people are typing it in because they got it through some other means other than a link, if they get a link to your site, they can just click the link. But if they have to type it in, you want to sort of minimize their typing. You want to make it easier to remember, to put on a slide, to put on other promotions, put on club business cards, that sort of thing. I do ask that you put in the district that you belong to. If you know your club number, you can enter that here. And it is nice if you put in a little bit about your location. If you're online only, you can say that, but we'll make this one Wallingford, Connecticut, in the USA. You put in something about your regular meeting schedule. Now, varies means we just have no particular schedule. Most of us meet on some kind of regular schedule, maybe ideally once a week, and we can put in that schedule here so that the software can help map out what those individual meeting dates will be. And this club meets at 7:30 p.m. They are on New York time. And then down the bottom here, we get to choose the option that we want for our club website design. Now, there are a number of them available. I've started recommending this one by default because it offers a lot of nice new options. It works a little bit differently than some of these other designs, but any of these can be great. You want to take something that is a reasonable starting point, a reasonable approximation of how you want your club website to look, and then you can customize a lot from there. So now we've made all our choices. We should be able to submit this. And I'm going to have to confirm my subscription to the email list before I'll be able to set this up. So here's the email confirmation. It says confirm your email, begin your website setup. So we're confirming our subscription to the Toastmost.org email list along the way so that we can stay in touch. And it'll say that the account is created with this password, which I'm going to have to make a note of. So let me grab a hold of that. Just going to stick this in a little notepad document. You may be using a password manager or some other significant method, more sophisticated method, but I'm showing you the simple way right now. I'd need to remember that my username is going to be Testy2. So that was automatically assigned. It is possible for me to change your username if necessary, but it's Testy2, and there's the password. So it says they're emailing directions, and we should be able to go and look at the club website. Let's just check that we did get that by email as well. So your new website awaits. Here's some basic instructions. Here's the login page. So we're going to need to use that password that we just had assigned to us, but we can change that as soon as we get in. And so let's go to the login page. And login is Testy2. And my password is over here. So, as I say, we can change that to something that's easier to remember. However, you are going to be the website administrator. You are all powerful within this digital universe, so you do want to be a little bit careful about not giving away too much. You don't want to be too easy to hack. So we want to allow these email options. And one thing that's mentioned in the email also is that there is this club website setup wizard. So this is supposed to guide you through the initial choices that you need to make to get this club website set up properly. So I'm going to click here and go into the wizard. And it asks me to make some basic choices about how much time I want to add for different activities, what roles I want to have on the agenda. And by making some of these choices, it will set up a starter agenda for us. We'll probably want to customize it more later. But here we're saying we have 3 speakers and 3 evaluators at a typical meeting, or that's how many we try to get. And so you can change that to be whatever it is. If you really typically only get 2 speakers and 2 evaluators, maybe it's a meeting with a limited amount of time, and you want to have Topics Master in there, you can have that before or after speakers. So after speakers and before evaluators, we'll do table topics, and it says time allowed is 10 minutes. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe we want to allow 15. So this will give you a basic idea of how to structure your agenda at the very beginning. There's lots of customization that you can do later on. There are prompts to add things like a theme and word of the day as an element of your agenda. There is a widget where people can record that they expect to be absent for an upcoming meeting, so that you can keep track of that and you're not nagging those people as much. You can include your officers listing on the agenda, invite guests to register online, which is a little widget on the home page that says RSVP now if you'd like to attend our next meeting. Show the time zone on all your events. This is particularly recommended for any club that meets in an online or hybrid format, where you could have people from all over the world. Try and make it clear how they can get that translated into their own time zone. And allow member data to sync. That's more of a technical thing. I won't get into it right now, but you probably want that turned on. So we're going to go to the next screen after having made those basic choices. And it's going to add a bunch of dates according to our recurring schedule. If we wanted to, we could go and edit those further now, but maybe we don't want to get into that just yet. Now, by default, the officer role that I've assigned myself is a webmaster, but if I'm actually the VP of Public Relations, I might want to record that. And there is an option here to invite some other members right up front. Now, if you want to invite in the whole club, which might be advisable, I'll show you how to do that using the download that you can get from Toastmasters International of your current active members. You can create accounts for everybody as a batch. But if you just want to add in a few other members to have them be able to come in and sort of help you evaluate the software, you can do that right here just by putting in their name, an email address. You can decide whether you want them just to be a regular member or whether you want them to be another administrator of the site who will have access to all the settings. So we can do that right now. There's also an option to add in some test users, which maybe I'll do just so we have some other accounts to play around with. And we can just get rid of those test users later. So here it lands me on a page that says, here are the next steps that you might want to take. You can go right in to edit your home page. There's some help links to learn more. View the role sign-up page and agenda. Start to explore different options and add members to your club website. So this link here will take me right to the page for adding members. And I'm going to show you how I would do that using the spreadsheet downloaded from Toastmasters.org. You can also enter accounts one at a time. You would put in the username that you want to use, their email, their first name, their last name, and any other information about them. The advantage to importing the spreadsheet from Toastmasters.org is that you also get their member ID into the system, and that actually makes it easier to keep things in sync over time. We can see that these fake users, none of them have member IDs, so it's actually warning me about that they might want to add that, but I don't want to add member IDs for fictitious people. So I'm going to go into Club Central, Membership Management, and what I want to do is export the spreadsheet version of this. So I'm going to download that to my computer. And so I'm actually switching over to a different test site to do this because these are live member accounts. I don't want to cause confusion there. But I select the file on my computer. There is also a way of copy and pasting this in, but it goes smoother if you choose the file. And I'll click Import. And it will ask me to confirm that this information is correct. I'm going to assume that it is. Let's say confirm add members. And so each of these members will now get an email that contains this text. You've been registered at this website. Here's your default username. And to set your password, please click this link. So each member can click that link. Choose a password that they want to use. It's always going to recommend one with lots of gobbledygook, which is more secure. That does make it stronger, but there are tactics for coming up with something that is significant to you, but not easy for somebody else to guess. You don't necessarily want to use your wife's birthday or certainly your birthday, thing that could be easily known by somebody else who's trying to hack your website. And hackers do also use just random guessing games, kind of brute force their way into guessing passwords for different sites. So you don't want to be packed, so you want it to be reasonably hard, but maybe this is a date that is significant to me and my family, but not too many other people. So that's not too bad. So if I had this in the system, maybe this is my great-grandfather's birthday, and this is something that I can remember, then that could be a reasonable password. And having something kind of punctuation, like even that comma in there, makes it a little bit stronger. So the member will click Save Password, and then you can, from there, they will be able to log into the website with that password and go to town. Now, a bunch of the work that we've been showing you so far is taking place on what's called the dashboard of WordPress. So this is the administrators area. It's also the private member area where certain information is accessible. Now you as the administrator get access to a much more complicated menu, a lot more options on the dashboard. a regular member will see something that looks more like this, with some basic options. This is the screen where they can go to change their personal information. Maybe they want to add in a phone number or change their email, or they can change their password. There is also an option where they can add their profile photo. Maybe I can show you that later. But the administrator's dashboard that you get as the website administrator shows all sorts of options. There are a number of things that are related to specifically Toastmasters administration, setting up email, so that there are mailing lists you can turn on. There's email forwarding that you can have active, where you can have veritesty.president is one that's sort of built in that goes along with assigning your president's role. And I'll go over some of this in more detail later. But if we go out and look at the public website, what we have right now is really just a starting point. So it has a little bit of information that was gathered from the sign-up form and from that setup wizard that we completed. It has an initial list of meetings according to our schedule that are already set up into the system. And so we could go over to any one of those meetings and sign up for a role or assign other people to a role. And what we have on the home page is just visit as a guest. We have that widget that is built in here. And then there's some boilerplate information that's baked in here. Some of this is taken from Toastmasters International, where they have their mock-up of what a good homepage might include, information about Toastmasters in general. But we're going to want to replace a lot of that with more specific information about our club and why it is so wonderful. So in the next lesson, I'm going to get into how to customize your homepage.